Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, you can see it's full daylight now. I wanted to start at 5:30, but just couldn't make it. Didn't work out. Did not work out, but now we're rolling along. We have McCormick Special Reserve American Blended Whiskey. In reality, it's neither special nor is it held in reserve. It's just a name they give it. But I guess that sounds better than calling it McCormick Ordinary Stuff. But I don't know. They ought to just call it, in my opinion, McCormick American Blended Whiskey. I don't really like when these companies give something a fancy name and it's not fancy, you know, but it's common. They always do that. Every beer's premium. You know, every wine is exquisite. Doesn't matter what it is. I was at a place in Kenner yesterday and they had Thunderbird wine. 2 different types too. I said, I can't do it. Almost did. Frederick Byron, morning from rainy Miami. Good morning, and it's probably not going to rain here. We had a big rainstorm Friday night, which screwed up my baseball final game experience. I could have, I don't know. I didn't want to drive all the way up there for no game. I've done that before. But by the time I realized they were playing the game, it was no sense in driving up there. JD Trojan 10, morning, Ronald from San Antonio, Texas. Good morning over there in San Antonio, Texas. Here we got Beams H-Star, the competitor, introduced in 1976. McCormick, all I know is that the distillery was established in 1856. They've probably been making this for a long time. That's why we have a roof here. Best stadium in Major League Baseball, Miami. I don't know if it's the best, in my opinion, but it's one of the best. I've been there many times. Well, 5 times, 5 games, I guess. Because I was staying in Florida City, and I drove to Key West twice, 2 different times, 2012 and 2016, I think. And then I would drive up Highway 1, Route 1, as they call it in the East, Highway 1, U.S. Highway 1, up to then cut across those neighborhoods to the stadium. Okay. I think the Beams 8-Star is a little lighter. It's more pale gold, and this one's more amber gold. I've been to 37 Major League ballparks. I need to go to number 38 this year, the new Atlanta Stadium. Okay, so Beams 8-Star Gold label with black and red trim, black, red, and white trim. It used to be a black label with gold, red, and white trim. And then McCormick's got that tan Ecro linen color with gold, black, and white trim, and the eagle and a banner that doesn't say anything. South Dixie Highway, right. The old Dixie Highway that ran from Miami all the way up to Winnipeg, Canada, I think it was, Canada. Then they started numbering the highways in 1926. I live right off of Jefferson Highway, which was another one of those that went from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans. There's an old granite marker in New Orleans. And it says, this is the southern terminus of the Great Jefferson Highway. And it's like a little monument. And it said, placed here by some tourist commission, whatever, or the Jefferson Highway Association, 1926. I think that's how long it's been there. I don't know why they keep it there. It's Thomas Jefferson, right? Slave owner. I think a lot of people walking by that monument are probably very offended and triggered, and it's just terrible. Plus, it's a highway, and that's modern, and that affects the environment. And that's offensive to many, you know, in the environmental movement. So I don't see how that monument can be there. You know, modern highway, slave owner, man from the South, a white person. So you can see a lot of reasons that should be taken down. But I guess a compromise is they could put a plaque on it explaining how bad he was and why it's necessary that other people have to suffer for that today. People today, you know, that weren't really involved in any of the past, but that they should be made to suffer because of sins of the past. And I think if we look at things in a Marxist-Leninist view, we can see that it is fair to punish people today for sins of the past so that you can even things out. And I think if people adopt a Marxist-Leninist outlook, they can really understand retribution, you know, reparations and privilege, racial privilege. I think people could grasp those concepts a lot better if they adopt a Marxist-Leninist mindset. I don't have that mindset, by the way. You probably noticed that. But anyway, I think I'll be able to tell these apart because I think the Beams 8 stars goalkeepers says hi Ron. Hello goalkeepers. I think the Beams 8 star has a more richer flavor. They're both 80 proof, but the Beams 8 star is only aged 2 years, and the McCormick is aged 3 years. The McCormick is selected and bottled in Missouri. It doesn't say it's distilled in Missouri. It's probably distilled in Kansas, okay? Like William Kepley says, you can tell more about these labels by what they don't say in some cases than what they do say. Beams 8 Star Kentucky whiskey, a blend. So it's from Kentucky. Okay, it's distilled and bottled by Kentucky Springs Distilling Company of Claremont and Frankfort, Kentucky. Now you might be saying, oh, when I went to Frankfurt, they did not have a Jim Beam tour there. Some guy, I think it was a truck driver at the liquor store, he said, yeah, you can go right down there and there's an entrance. That's the big Jim Beam distillery. And I said, I don't think they give tours there though. He didn't know. There's some kind of thing down in Claremont called the Jim Beam Experience. And you got to make a reservation a day in advance and all this business. I was like, I don't think so. So I guess what this is, why is it called 8 star? Got no clue. I would assume it's 80% grain neutral spirits, which is the unaged corn whiskey, blended with 20% straight bourbon, probably what? Jim Beam aged 2 years. You know, they aged Jim Beam 4 years, but it's probably 2-year aged Jim Beam. Frederick says, being from Latin America, I can tell you that is very dangerous. Luckily, Costa Rica has been able to stay mostly center-right for many decades. Marxist-Leninist thought is dangerous? Oh, well, if you want to nitpick, like, you say, well, yeah, 38 million people got killed in China under Mao Zedong. Well, 3 million, 1.5 to 3 million killed under Pol Pot, 20 million in Russia. Oh, well, I mean, if you want to nitpick, but think of all the good things that comes from Marxist-Leninism. Empty store shelves, mass starvation, brutality, concentration camps, work camps, re-education camps, drab public housing, drab public buildings of all sorts. Now, when you think about those things, declining quality of life everywhere in the country. So when you bring in those things, it might be more appealing, you see. I just started watching this stream. Have you already tested and compared those whiskeys, says Goalkeepers? No, I haven't. I'm just ranting, just kind of going on about, you know how I do, bringing in my little you know what I'm talking about, like do the whiskey thing, but then bring in other topics in a not so subtle way. And usually in a sort of sarcastic way, right? Haha, great way to put it, says Frederick. Right. So all right. Aroma. You know what it smells like? Alcohol, grain alcohol, and a little bit of corn. Literally, that's what it smells like. Very basic. Just calling it like I'm smelling it. This one over here, not too different. Not too different. It's like the same thing, basic corn liquor, but in a different way. Trying to determine how that's different. Okay. What about all the rich, intricate aromas? Well, I paid $7.99 for this bottle of Beam's 8-Star. And I can get the McCormick, the same size glass bottle, for $5.99. So I don't think you're going to get too much intricacies for that price. Okay. Now, maybe if a $49.99 a bottle, you get a deluxe Jim Beam product, you like one of their really high grade Jim Beam products. Yeah. Then you can get intricate. But for $7.99, you're going to get what I just described, alcohol burn and a corn thing. McCormick, do they have a top of the line? Do they have a top shelf line? They do. If you look on their website, it's called the premium line. And they got that Triple Crown blended whiskey, comes in a fancy glass bottle with like a decanter cap and all of this. But yeah, it's going to have more. It better have more because you know it's going to cost a good deal more. I was looking at blended whiskeys yesterday, the expensive ones like now, of course, the Jim Beams for $49.99, that's going to be straight bourbon. But I was looking at some blended ones, you know, and I said, oh, okay, I wonder if these are really good. I'll never find out because I'm not paying $30 to find out, okay? All right, may as well go with it. So as far as aroma, I can't tell them apart. And if I looked at them right now, yeah, I could tell them apart because I know that the Beams 8-Star is not, it's a little darker, I mean, a little paler, right? Okay. Can't even remember. Okay. A little candy corn's coming in like you get for Halloween, the candy corn, which has a little bit to do with corn because they're probably using corn syrup as the flavoring, you know, the unpleasant corn syrup that people use because it's cheap and government subsidized instead of cane sugar. Yeah, you know that cane sugar had a lot to do with the war against Spain in 1898. Cane sugar, government, tariffs, and greed. Yep. You can get the McCormick in these flavors: apple, watermelon, raspberry, grape, sweet tea, blueberry, cherry, citrus, orange, and peach. What flavor does your McCormick whiskey have? Oh, all those flavored ones. Yeah, I've seen those on the internet. This is no flavor. It's just straight corn distillate and 20% pure bourbon whiskey. Same thing with Bird Dog. You know, they got all these Bird Dog flavors and they got all those, but then there's a standard Bird Dog that's just whiskey. And they have Old Camp in those nice fancy bottles. Same story. They got the peach and everybody wants to get the, what is the hot pepper one, hot mint, peppermint, hot fireball type thing. But then there is a standard Old Camp blended whiskey. They have it at Walmart. So these are not flavored. Okay, time for the taste. 100% alcohol. Well, it's 40% alcohol, but it's 100% corn product. Okay, that tastes very dull, bland, and standard, and very expected. So might be Beams 8 Star. I thought Beams 8 Star had more flavor, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was when it was 75-25. The old bottle I bought, the 80-20 seems to have dropped. It's about $8. Oh, okay. See, this has got that strange melon taste. Now, why I would have like a cantaloupe or honeydew melon flavor, I don't know. And I don't ever recall Beams 8 Star having that, whether it was the old blend ratio 75-25 or the current blend ratio 80-20. You can't go lower than 80-20, by the way, because then it can't be blended whiskey. It's got to be what they call spirit whiskey. You say that's a type of whiskey. Yeah. If you want to call it whiskey, but that's what they call it. That's the law. It qualifies. They got expensive spirit whiskey at Mathern's, $23. Rebecca Creek. I don't think I'm gonna buy it. This one doesn't really have that melon. Oh. Well, let me say this to you. They're both not exactly smooth. They have a lot of bite to them. They're kind of harsh, not in the Jack Daniel's sense of harshness, but they're not super smooth. Sometimes that's good to have a little bite to it because it gets very bland if it's just too smooth, I think. But which is which? I'm looking, that one looks darker. That one looks lighter, but it already had the melon taste, and I thought that was McCormick, right? So I think this is McCormick. Which one's better, though? Oh, well. That's okay. It just tastes like sweet corn. They don't taste like yellow corn grits. And that's the thing about the bourbon. To me, bourbon tastes like yellow corn grits. It's like a strong grits burn. The Beams 8 Star is a mix of grain neutral spirits and straight whiskey, says Goalkeepers. Oh, that's right. That's what I was talking about. The grain neutral spirits, which is, you know, what grain? Corn. It's distilled. It's cut with water. And it's not aged. It's stored in wooden containers, but it is not. It has to be stored in wooden containers. I read that. U.S. government regulation. Not aged. Just mixed. It's a blend component. Now you can make vodka with it after you keep distilling it, filtering it. I mean, you can make gin with it. They do the gin process with it. And you can blend it and make all these blended whiskeys or blended bourbon. Or you can make all these liqueurs with it. So grain neutral spirits is a very versatile product. You can buy pure 190 proof grain neutral spirits, uncut, dangerous, Everclear from Luxco. Diesel brand from Sazerac. And some people that do all this party drinking, they'll do these challenges to drink that stuff straight at these college parties. Then you see people dying, they die. Tells you right on the website, don't drink this. It's not made to be drunk. It's made as a mix or a recipe base. I tasted some of that at the Barton Distillery. So what I'm saying is, Goalkeepers, it's like it's an ingredient, a commodity, right? A condiment in a way, or a commodity that's used to make other products, the grain neutral spirits. I don't know what else. just a base to make other things. And you can buy the Everclear or the diesel and make your own liquor. They sell that stuff at the baseball games, the college baseball games I go to. They take diesel, 190 proof, 190 proof. They mix it with this orange flavor and make like a snowball, you know, a daiquiri. It tastes like snowball, or what do y'all call it up north? Snow cones. Snow cone syrup, you know, really gross stuff. Like high fructose corn syrup. It's like, all, you know, it's food coloring. It's like really bad. And I tried some of it. It made me feel sick. Just that little 1 or 2 ounce tasting made me feel sick. I don't know how people can drink that. But this lady, she drinks the whole big, it's like $8, this big old styrofoam cup of it. And as the game goes on, I notice she gets more obnoxious and aggressive and loud. And I could try to explain to her, but it would do no good. She's not going to even grasp what I'm talking about. She probably wouldn't even listen while. She's one of those people, you know, they don't listen to you while you're talking to them. They're thinking about something else. So you could try to tell her, you know, that's 190 proof. They tell you that's their strongest daiquiri. You know, it's junk. This is not healthy. You're already very overweight. You need to be in shape. You're not helping yourself drinking this. But you couldn't tell her, nothing. You know, you wouldn't be like, it wouldn't do any good, you know. He says, but it isn't pure. Is it? According to my opinion, they don't have a specific it's pure. It is pure corn distillate, grain neutral spirits. It's not colored or flavored. It's not supposed to have any flavor or aroma. It does have a little of both, but it's supposed to be generally, essentially neutral. It's a base. It's like the brewer's syrup when they use in brewing beer, making beer. It isn't supposed to have any flavor because that interferes with the flavor of the beer. It's just a filler or a bulk item. Better. I don't know if either one's better, honestly. I think the Beams 8 Star is a little milder and has a little more true whiskey flavor. It tastes a little more like bourbon instead of just grain spirits or moonshine. Yeah, I mean, that's what grain neutral spirits are, moonshine. That's all it is. And then people pay a lot of money for moonshine. It's like, wow, you could just buy. But it's in a fancy jar with a screw cap and all of this. So people, they buy it. Okay. I think this is Beams 8 Star, and I think it wins. Doesn't win by much. So if I could pay $7.99 for Beams 8 Star or $5.99 for McCormick, which one would I buy? Neither, because I don't plan to revisit any of these things. I'm just going through the brands. But I guess if I was actually buying them on purpose for my own enjoyment, which I wouldn't do, I guess I'd buy the McCormick and save $2. I don't know. I'm not sure what I would do, honestly. Okay, so I think this is Beams 8 Star. Ha ha ha, wrong. It's McCormick. Well, once again, and this is an ongoing thing. If you watch all these taste challenges, I keep getting them wrong. So either I don't know how to taste things. It's a possibility. But I think the more likely reasoning is that McCormick is so common in its flavor, so ordinary, that it does not stand out from all the other blended whiskeys. Now you might say, yeah, but they're all ordinary and don't stand out. Okay, I don't dispute that. Alex, the beer master. Hello, Alex. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning to you. So if you want to make the argument that all of these blended whiskeys at the 80-20 blend ratio are like the same old thing with different stickers on them, even though they're from different companies, the same concept, I would agree with that. I would go along with that. It's a whole lot of similarity now. But that's probably the case with bourbon. That's probably the case with, I noticed that with gin. Do they all taste the same? No. Does the price seem to matter? Yes. Is it a profound difference? Not really. I can get Crystal Palace for $4.99. I can get Seagram's Distiller's Reserve for $14.99. Which one's better? Obviously, the Seagram's Distiller's Reserve is better. It's a higher quality product. But is it profoundly better? You see, I don't know about that. And if you're doing mixed drinks, it may not be worth buying, you see, because now you're going to mask all the intricate flavors with the Coca-Cola or the lemonade or whatever you're mixing it with. So it may not, you might just assume buy the dang Crystal Palace, which, by the way, I was in Kenner yesterday, Kenner, Louisiana, and I went to this liquor store, and it was just, it's a grocery store / liquor store, but mainly liquor, and cigarettes, and that's their gin. I mean, over there, that's what they've got. Crystal Palace, and every bottle size you ever wanted to see, like 5, 6 facings of each size. I was like, this is like the palace of Crystal Palace. I mean, that's just what's popular there now. You say, well, people in Kenner have bad taste. You know, if people in South Kenner had bad taste, okay, well, you know, well, they're enjoying Crystal Palace. Off topic, but I agree with you on the celebration of the so-called royal family. Dilly Dilly says. I don't know. What did I say about the celebration? I said I wasn't particularly interested in it because it was a wedding that involved very, you know, what we call minor royals. They're not in line to the throne. They're just relatives of the crown prince, or Prince Royal, as they say in England. I mean, they're famous because they're alive. I mean, but how many, you say, well, they're important. Okay. Can you name all the brothers and sisters of King George V? You see what I mean? Like, they were there. They had titles. Like, he's the Duke of Sussex, the new one, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That's wonderful. But see, they don't go on through history as being somebody that you know about. Now, in 1925, people might say, oh, you know, the Duke of Sussex, the brother of King George, or the grandson of King George V, he did all these things, and he made a statement that people found impertinent, and the media's on his case and all of this. But today, 90 years later, it's forgotten. Gone with the wind. But I mean, it's fine. I'm not an anti-royalist anyway. I'd rather just have a good government. I wouldn't care if it was a royal government, a republic, authoritarian government. You know what I mean? Like, I just want it to be good. Usually they're not good. You know, keep the streets clean. Don't allow crime to flourish. Leave people alone. Don't regulate business too much. Get out of the way, you know. So, but that isn't the case too much today, right? Now it's all micromanagement of everybody. You say, well, I don't mind getting micromanaged because we got a republic in America. I don't mind getting micromanaged. If you don't like it, you can leave. If you don't like American regulations, you can leave. At least I don't have a king micromanaging me and telling me what to do. I got a Republican government telling me what to do and managing my life. Okay, well, that's good. No? You know what I'm saying? Haha, I'm an anti-royalist American. Okay, I'm not. For how long have you been doing this? Oh, years. Go. Oh, you mean taste challenges? Oh, a couple of years. All right. But the video reviews, many years, many years. Okay. Okay. Well, it's enough of that. So I couldn't tell them apart. Same old story, nothing new. But anyway, they're so common and similar. These things here. Next. What's next? I think we've got Albertsons, and I think we have Heaven Hill, which I forgot to even schedule. I got to bring that in. We've got you'll see. It's a month. I have on schedule. You can look at my schedule. I think that's public. And then we'll finally be done with McCormick because it won't be. There's still 40% of the bottle though, because these challenges doesn't require too much liquor. You know, they don't require too much. After that, we'll try Kentucky Gold. Kentucky Gold. You say, what other blended whiskeys do you have? I've got Bellows, Club Whiskey, and just straight Bellows. And not too much more. I've done enough blended whiskeys for my life. They all kind of like, all right, they're okay. I've done enough bourbon. They're like, all right, bourbon. Okay, I get it. But I'm more interested, I can only speak for me. I'm more interested in the Canadian blended whiskeys. I find they got more flavor. They're smoother. They're nicer. That's me. I'm not against America because I like Canadian whiskey. I just like the style better. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people are indifferent to it. I like the Scotch better. Some people say, oh, Scotch. Hit me in the head with a hammer. I hate that stuff. Well, some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people are indifferent to it. But like I always say, you may as well drink what you may as well drink what you enjoy, right? Like, so what difference does it make? If I want to drink a bunch of blended Scotch for the next 20 years and do taste challenges, it's not hurting anybody. And then like bringing these little political ideas while I'm doing it, it's not hurting anybody. And if I want to do Canadian blended whiskeys and do taste challenges, it's not hurting anybody. You can make your own channel. Some people criticize you, like, you are so faulty in so many ways. You have so many faults. And I want to point these out to you again. Well, go make your own channel. Go do your own videos. Maybe I'll watch. They might be wonderful. I may be fascinated, but you know, that doesn't usually happen. All right, thank you for watching this video production.